Okay, ready to start? Yes. Speak well English. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very, very. Okay, okay, va bene. So, well, so far we have seen basic concepts and classifications of networks, right? Directed, undirected, weighted, binaries, one mode, two modes, and some very basic terms, geodesic, volt, path, connectivity, components. So now with this lesson, we jump into more strictly to the point. Applying measures. Maybe you remember I told you that we and you in the project work will run the analysis at 3 levels. Node level, that is single company and its own neighbors. And this is very important because at the very end, as we will see, in each industry and in each business, there are leading companies, there are leaders. Usually they are not at the same level of relevance. There is some leader, it's particularly important in terms of market, production, technology, some sense. So it's very important to focus on few of them. Or you will see when I will introduce you the guidelines of the project work. I will give you guidelines. So this is the type of things you have to investigate, to calculate, to analyze, to interpret. So a sort of structure of the project work. And among these things I will ask you to do, there is just analyzing what is called in the jargon of network analysis, social network analysis, the ego network. The ego network. Ego. So the network just grounding, focused on a pivotal node, pivotal company. So company, let's say Amazon and its neighbors. That's focusing particularly on that case. No? And this is the first level. I mean, of course, in the industry, there will be 1,000 companies, but only few of them, I think, maximum few hundreds, probably few dozen, I guess, I'm not sure, will be connected with the board interlock, with the department interlock. So between the few dozens of companies connected in that way, there will be very, very few important companies. So at the very end, node level analysis will be 4 or 5 cases, something like that. That's my imagination, the imagination I have for what we will find. Besides this node level analysis that we are going to see now, it's useful also to understand the other two levels of analysis. The group level, which means that we will be grouping companies according to some criterion. You will see some criterion means, for instance, click, clan, plexus. There are some few, and then the largest level, I mean the broadest level, which is the network level. When we take all the network, all the companies all together, and we see what is the structure. So now we start from the node level, that is from the disaggregated level. And we start with the very central concept of centrality indexes, centrality measures. It is very important, and it's very, very intuitive. Let's make examples in a friendship. In a group of friends, who is more important? Who is more central? I mean, it means that most likely everybody or most of the friends know that guy, okay? While many other guys are known only by a few other friends. So immediately you can understand who is more important, who is more involved in friendship. So let's say if we are a group of 10, 15 friends, everybody knows him or her. And maybe not all of the other friends knows someone of the group. Or maybe not very well, then we will see the question of the weight of the link. In simple binary terms, the question is, do the friends know that guy or not? Yes or no, binary. But then it's very important how much they like one another, or maybe how much they are involved in the friendship. We can make a lot of degrees, no? In friendship, like a lot, no? But how much you love me? That's typical question. I don't know. What is the matrix? What is the? But anyway, the question is, of course, is a substantial question. I mean, even in friendship. So close friends are friends that usually you meet or you communicate often. Right? Lose communication means also lose friendship. Sometimes we meet, sometimes we interact. So this is a typical measure of the strength of the link, the weight, the intensity. And that also is important in defining the relevance of a node, the relevance of an actor, relevance of a company. So it's very much intuitive, centrality. So the idea is that the more central you are, the more important you are. And the better it is. But this last statement must be taken carefully, cautiously, because it depends on the type of link. Because if we were describing or representing, instead of friendship, we were representing dislike, then better not to be central, right? Better to be peripheral. So few people dislike you, better So the question depends on the type of link. So if we want to be more precise in the definition, centrality is not measuring necessarily something positive, something that is better than is high. Just for example, hate, how many people do hate me? I hope to be not very much central. So what is measuring centrality? Is measuring the degree of involvement. How much that actor is involved or embedded, if you prefer, is a term, embedded into the relationship, into the structure. So if the link is positive, better to be highly central. If it is negative, better to be not involved. Example of negative is, for example, if there is a contagion, viral contagion for biological virus, or, for example, for an economic wave of crisis, arriving the crisis, better to be not central. The more central you are, the more likely, the higher the probability that you will be impacted. So if there is the epidemic of COVID, better to be peripheral, right? Because you reduce the probability to be infected. The more central you are, the more probable you will get infection. So that's a real example that the question is, centrality is measuring the degree of involvement. Then we have to look at what type of link we are considering. Okay, so now there are various ways to measure the relative importance of a node or involvement of a node or a group of nodes. It's possible to measure the degree of centrality of even of a group. And simple ways through centrality indexes. And the first classification we can do between direct centrality and indirect centrality. Direct centrality means the degree of direct connections that we have with our neighbors. Indirect centrality is more complicated, more subtle. And the question is, let's make the two paradigmatic examples. Actor A and actor B. Actor A has a lot of direct links, a lot of neighbors, but then those neighbors do not have many neighbors themselves, very few. Actor B has only maybe one neighbor or two neighbors, but these neighbors have a lot of neighbors on themselves. So direct centrality of A is high, but indirect centrality is low. Direct centrality of B is low, but indirect centrality is high. Through the neighbors of the neighbors, etc., until the whole network is covered. So that's why we have to distinguish direct centrality, which is just one measure, basically one measure, and indirect centrality, which can be measured in various ways, not only in one index, different indexes. Now, for the indirect centrality, I launched from now this warning. This is a basic course, so we will not go to complicated indexes, but be careful that 90%, let's say 99% of papers, of studies empirical applications, concrete studies, they use indexes built only on geodesics, so the shortest path. This is a strong limitation. Intuitively, you can have few geodesics, or you can be in few short paths, but you can be involved in many non-geodesic paths. And that can make a difference. Because it means that many other actors can reach you through maybe non-geodesic, but nevertheless paths, nevertheless can reach you. I mean, this is a sort of typical bias of let's say, natural scientists and also economists, because the idea is always efficiency. Behind the concept of geodesic, there is the logic of efficiency, shortest. Because the idea is that shortest means more efficient. Shortest, the most efficient. Because you can go from node A to node B in the shortest number of intermediates, shortest number of steps. And so the idea is that you save resources, you save time, because the more links are, the more time you will need probably to go through the path. So the idea of geodesic is look immediately at the shortest. But this is the idea of the optimization, typical of economists, engineers, no? And even because in physical phenomena, this is something that actually happened. I mean, let's imagine a network of hydraulic system, and water is falling down. It will find the shortest path for sure. This is it's a gravitation, it's a physical law. We'll go through the shortest path. But in social sciences, this can be a hard limitation and a hard distortion of reality, because there can be many reasons why you don't want or you cannot follow the shortest path. Imagine in geopolitics, shortest path from here to there, but there is a war, or there are agreements, special agreements, or special forbidden. No? It's that you cannot go through the shortest path. You have to make the longest path. Just because you cannot do that. Or because maybe, okay, it's longer, but that partner is better than another partner for other reasons. So you say, okay, it's not the shortest path, but I prefer to go through that partner because that partner is more attractive, is more interesting, is more competitive. There can be 100 reasons not to follow the geodesics. This is the kingdom of social sciences, of socioeconomic sciences. So the behavior shouldn't necessarily follow the shortest path. Shouldn't necessarily be optimizing. Okay, that's the point. So just bear in mind this issue. Maybe we will go back on that. But because I mean these are the most diffuse. I mean 99% of papers are using only geodesics. Okay, we will do this. So direct centrality is called degree centrality. Synonyms, the same concept. In direct centrality, we will look carefully at two different measures. One is called betweenness centrality, BC, and the other one is called closeness centrality. In a few minutes, we will see all of them. There is also an interesting hybrid direct-indirect centrality index that we will discuss also, not in depth, a bit more complicated, which is eigenvector centrality. Okay, when will be the moment we will see what does it mean. So basically, we have this this situation. Okay, this is our grid. Basically, we have 4 centrality indexes: degree, closeness, betweenness, eigenvector. Okay, 4 eigenvector. In mathematics, in algebra, matrix algebra, the eigenvector of a matrix is a particular algorithm, a particular mean. You can give a look, on yourself. I will tell you intuitively what is it. So 4 main centrality indexes. Now, they can be distinguished in terms of binary or valued networks. So we will have degree centrality calculated on the binary version of the network and on the valued weighted version of the network. They can be different, of course, because you can have a lot of neighbors. Again, intuitively, you can have a lot of neighbors, but with weak relations. And you can have only 1 or 2 neighbors, but with strong relations. That's why if we do the ranking of all the actors according to binary degree centrality, it can differ a lot from the ranking of the same actors in terms of weighted degree centrality. Binary is binary, how many they are. Weighted is how many they are per multiplied the strength of each relationship. And can change a lot. So that's why we have, and you in your work, you will have to keep them distinguished. Binary degree centrality and weighted degree centrality. The same logic holds for closeness centrality, betweenness centrality, and eigenvector centrality. Same question. Another distinction is directed or undirected networks. Okay. You are lucky in this year because 2 years ago we worked on ownership networks, directed, much more complicated. You will deal with the department interrupts, so undirected networks, much easier. Everything much easier to calculate and to interpret. Okay, but take into account that can be very different, because you can have, in principle, let's make an example with ownership or trading. You can have a lot of in edge and few out edge, or no out edge at all, or vice versa. So the two measures can be very different, directed or undirected. Then we have to make, in what we are going to see, another distinction in absolute values. So how many? and normalized values. Because, of course, why? Why it's important to calculate both aspects? Why?
Normalized way, or comparing with
Why it's useful to normalize, calculating normalizing?
the normalized way, approximate to the normal form,
No, forget statistics in the sense of normal distribution. This is the question of absolute values.
You can compare with the other normalized values of other.
Sure. Because maybe did you understand, Gianluca? No. Repeat so that Gianluca can do it.
If we have an absolute value, would be high for me, but not for you. If we want to compare my value with yours, we have to normalize the both values, and it's
we have to divide per the same denominator. That makes sense, of course. No? I mean, because otherwise, let's suppose we have two networks. One network size 10, another network size 1 million. Having 9 links is a lot in the first network. It is very few in the second network. So to compare the centrality of that node in the two networks, we should normalize. Okay, we should calculate both because even absolute values are important because they give anyway a level of commitment, a level of involvement. So it's important as well. So can you see how many at the very end centrality? Okay, but what kind of centrality? Do a lot of different aspects that we have to deal with. Yeah. Last one, eigenvector. We will. This was just the presentation. Okay, now we're going to see one by one. Don't worry. Okay, let's start with absolute degree centrality. So absolute, not normalized, starting from that, and degree centrality. The simplest and maybe most important index. Okay. So, let's start from the simplest case, which is for undirected networks. Because, as I told you, things can change with directed. So the simplest calculation is undirected, binary, absolute. Then we will make things more complicated with directed, normalized, and weighted. Okay? Clear? Okay, just because you're not sure, start from you. What is the degree centrality of these actors? We have A, B, C, D, E. Please. No, Georgia. Try to calculate. Think. Huh? One by one. Five, because it's a node level measure. We are dealing with node level measure. Single nodes, single actors. Okay. Five what? But no, you have to tell me, not A degree centrality is this one, not B degree centrality is this one. It's a node level measure. Each node is different in principle.
So the node A.
Node A is centrality. No.
I'm not sure that.
Okay, try.
For example, the node B is connected with
Eat logic, they don't see. They have the same progress.
the degree 11 is one, because B is connected with
The degree centrality, in the proper word, the degree centrality of node B is one. One.
because it's connected with one.
It's connected only with A. Only one neighbor. Right? Then look, at degree centrality of node A is 4, folks. So yeah, that's very, very trivial, very simple, nothing complicated. This is one of the prototypical forms, basic structures on which we will reason about. And it's called the star network, no? Or sometimes somebody calls it the wheel, like that. It's a star. There is a central node and peripheral nodes. All the peripheral nodes are not connected one another. They are all connected with the central node, but not between them. Okay? Now, so let's go fast. This is another prototypical structure. It's called the chain structure, chain network, because they are just like a chain. No? It's very intuitive. So, Matteo, what's the degree centrality of this node? Node D. 3? Why 3? 2. One connection with E and one connection with C. No? 2. And just at first sight, immediately you can say that if the network is like a chain, all the nodes have the same degree centrality, but the first and the last. Okay, that's obvious. No? Another prototypical form, another prototypical structure is this one. It's a little bit more complicated. And now you can understand something that is interesting. Lyman. Sorry. Here. Degree centrality of ABF.
A is 2, B is 3, and F is 2.
2 as well. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is that the centrality respect to the whole structure does not mean that it is the most connected, because A is really central with respect to the whole structure. No? By the way, this is a very symmetric network. Symmetric because the left side is precisely the same of the right side. And in this central node, the centrality is not maximal. Maximum centrality is B and C, with 3 links. So this is central in terms of the whole structure, but not central in terms of neighbors. Got it? Yeah. Okay, so for example, here, violet color, the highest degree centrality. DC, this thought means what? Who can tell me? Rami.
DC.
Or you? Hey.
No,
Oh, you? Okay.
What does it mean?
Thought. What does it mean? Why I wrote here degree centrality thought?
The total of the degree centrality of every node.
No, okay, every node has its degree centrality. That's not. Thought was. Why thought? Look at we already commented because we have already seen this network, previous lessons. So what is the characteristic of this network?
Is it the bridge?
It is
The bridge.
the bridge, what do you mean?
Bridge.
Bridge, okay. No, it's not a bridge, that one. Okay, it is actually that one, not the other one. But the point is thought. Why thought?
Because maybe they are all direct connection. Like
Maria,
they have.
lost his face.
No, I'm here.
You're
I am
here. Matteo, Camilla, Beatrice, intanto. Che provo, magari va bene. So what kind of network is this? It's directed. So what's the point? Thought means that I have found what is the actor, the company, more central, considering in and out degree. Because it can be that in only terms of in degree centrality is not high, or vice versa, out degree centrality is not high, but summing in and out is high. And this was the measure I used. Because sometimes it is very important to understand what's coming in and what's going out at the same time to say that it's relevant. Imagine an airport on a hub. So how many flights arrive, how many depart, or imagine trade network, how many suppliers, how many customers. It can be very important to look at both sides and sum them up. In this sense, I said, I measured here the highest company, the company with the highest total degree centrality are these two companies. Here we are considering knowledge exchange, knowledge flow, in and out. Okay? Now, what kind of involvement, or if you like, influence power, because sounds the same meaning in many cases, no? Like in knowledge flow. It means influence power or trade. The more you trade, the more influential you are on the market structure, no? On the industry structure. So the question is, what is not really captured by measuring degree centrality? What is overlooked? No. Now stay still in absolute. Don't make skip put apart aside for a moment absolute or normalized. But what is not? What don't we understand if we were using only degree centrality? What kind of aspects?
We have not taken into consideration of the in degrees or the out degrees.
No, in out is just degree centrality. No, we just said one moment before. We said that this is total in and out. I could also select only in or only out, and this is considered. What is not considered if we were calculating only degree centrality?
Maybe you have to count the number of the nodes in the network. Maybe one node in a network has a degree 10, and in another network also node the highest degree of a node is 10, but maybe in the first network, the total number of nodes is 11. So
Yeah, but that's the concept of normalized. No? That she also said, no, Jill said, absolute or normalized. But that's not the point now. Stay on this graph. What is if we only say, okay, these and these are the two most important companies for knowledge flow. Okay, we can finish our report, write the report. Okay, done. But then it would be a poor analysis, not really smart, because if we were staying only on degrees of quality, there is something that we overlook. What do we overlook? Flow, knowledge flow. Okay, this is the phenomenon. By the way, in the case of your project groups, we are very near this logic of knowledge flow because the department interlock. What are they doing? They are sharing operative knowledge. A manager is managing at the same time a department of a company and a department of another company. So not strategic knowledge, but operative knowledge. That's very, very near to this case. So what would be overlooked if we were staying only on degree centrality?
Of the highest links is there, but the second or the third node with the most links is not. There is no focus on the other one, no. So maybe
we could do the ranking, no problem. So I just evidence only the two highest, but I could do all the 100, how many they are, 443 companies ranking by in, out, and in plus out. That's not the problem. By the way, with the software, you click on calculate degree centrality plus, and you have all the ranking, no?
Maybe the nodes on the peripheral.
Yeah, the node peripheral, they also have a degree centrality. Yeah. But what is the point? I'm trying to push you from degree centrality, that is direct centrality, to indirect centrality. If we don't calculate indirect centrality, what would we miss? What would we lack in understanding these companies? Because staying only on degree centrality, we would say, okay, company whatever is ICT 40 and ICT 35 are two most important, and then the others. Okay, that's the ranking by line. But that would be a mistake. Probably would be a mistake. Why?
Because there are some nodes that have a lower degree, but like they are connected to other nodes that are having higher degrees.
Precisely. So the point is just that some node can have not many neighbors, so degree centrality, but they can be important for the position that they cover in the whole network.
That's centrality.
That's indirect centrality, because it's not depending on direct, on neighbors. It's depending on the position with respect to all the other nodes, not only on the neighbors. That's the difference. When you look at degree centrality, you are considering only the neighbors of that actor. But that's only a part of the story. Another part of the story is what is the position? How much important is the position respect to all the other nodes, not only the neighbors? That's the difference. For example, there could be that this company, or maybe we're just looking at this company, they don't have many links, not so many like this, but they can be in between the flow of knowledge between all the other nodes of the network. So, in other words, they can have a high intermediary power because they are in between, they are into the path. Many paths, the more paths they are in between, the more important they are. So they can have very few links, direct links, but be very important because many paths go through that node. And this is what we are going to see. And another aspect is the other centrality index of it is closeness centrality. How near you are to all the other nodes. And why it's important? Because we all know for personal experience and intuitive that the nearer you are, the closer you are to the power, to the others, the easier to get information, to acquire knowledge, to know what's going to happen. Better to be near most actors than far, except for the case of the pandemic. In that case, it's better that you are far. So that's why, depending on the phenomenon you are considering, the closer you are to the other actors, the more dangerous is your position in case of contagion. Biological contagion or financial contagion is the same logic. If you are a bank and you are very central with respect to many other banks, then it's much easier that you will be impacted by the Lehman Brothers financial crisis. Okay, let's stop for a break. Se ti apri un po', va che è rosso qua. È rosso che. Medico, dove ti ubicato?
No, è che sì, praticamente mentre di semplicemente il grado del cervello, quello dell'indiretto non si deve ricevere e poi a
Ah, quindi in diretta le
sì.
La teoria sono molto vicini, però come era il mio posto che funzionava per quello, non so.
Sentiamo spesso, secondo me, i diretti.
No, indirette.
Tu puoi vedere più con più link, ok? Prova più peso dei link, vabbè, ovviamente dipende da quello che stai analizzando, il peso che bene.
Rispetto a quello che fanno lì.
Due link rispetto a te, una cosa più forte, quindi
Ah, ok, quindi
non ti devi concentrare soltanto su link,
quindi vicini e peso.
Il centrale sei più abbondante di conoscenze
È la
basta rimaniamo sempre complesso
A misura che trovate l'indicatore, vedi che dati sporchi, un casino. Perché stai in attratto, sei da computer per anni. Sì.
Ah, ok, del gruppo, ok.
Prossima settimana, vedete col computer, tutti quanti, c'è la lezione online. No, infatti, questo qua. Però lui sarà legato, ci sarà anche un altro mio collaboratore che poi farà un seminario più avanti, per cose di fatto lui. Insomma, sarà movimentata la cosa, vedete, legato. Come? Che ci vuole? Dopo dei lavori di gruppo, non mi sa, che spazione attendo, ma poi la Lega per fatto da poi sta qui non c'è un po' per
Quindi se io mi hanno da fare
con Robert stiamo guardando, forse le dobbiamo ritirare tutto. Perché la pandemia ha creato e quindi ci stiamo ritrovando che la residenza sia comunque no, però non si sa quanti ne sono morti durante la pandemia, perché è stata mostrata. Ogni anno solo in Italia, quante imprese sono tutte? Ogni anno solo in Italia.
quest'anno non vediamo. Dipende se consideriamo qualsiasi tipo di impresa.
SRL nei SRL 2000. Probabilmente 7.000. Probabilmente durante adesso magari la pandemia, quindi solo l'Italia. Siamo andati proprio a fare l'analisi, proprio c'era ieri, e allora stiamo adesso piano o quello che devi dire no, magari è stato un po' però questo è quello che va cioè io intendo di questo grandi strumenti cioè poter andare a fare il lavoro di lavoro dicendo sì, a parte la statistica, non c'è, devo fare un'analisi per qualche dati ora per avere una leva no, se la faccia in più rispetto agli altri, sapere mettere le mani su dentro. E poi il data science e l'altro l'analisi del design, a fine bisogna fare portarti le mani, vedere fatti dati, fatti vedere che così non è che si presenta una cosa magari come che si va in realtà mai, io diciamo lo stesso problema, cioè non è che forse si presentano questo stile, i triangoli veramente triangoli. È sempre per anche sul triangolo. Cioè, si rende conto, no? Poi invece da un altro lato, mi metto, deve farsi vedere. Sì e no, però vedi che non c'è tutta questa distanza, cioè, perché loro fanno cose diverse, poi dimostrano teorie, poi spiegano no, però poi alla fine no, anche applicazioni concrete.
Ma no, sulla storia degli strumenti, però cioè che si
però anche facile,
Perché non vuoi
ecco, e una cosa bella che è insieme
è grande, diciamo, no, però mi immagino più solo per c'è ora. Abbiamo stato la cittadina. Perché ho visto no, il seminario che di prendere a Roma. Qualcuno che ha gli studi mi sembrava una cosa. Però vengo informale, quindi la mia consultazione con Graz che giusto poteva essere che e ancora che la poi dai, oggi sicuramente sì, perché ho preso la sacca di cose qualcosa anche per le letterature però non è presente però c'è un fatto quello che non ho capito la no, io non vedo perché l'ho già fine anno gratuitamente.
Yeah, I'm fine. You understood you are very with the subject. Yeah, you answer always. And the professor was me.
Just complain.
Yes.
This one will be strict, this one is my teacher.
You know, there is no place like. You know, there is no place like. You know what the state is not. It is like.
Okay. It's not.
That's what CC.
So you have to go back in. Because you are very good at it, you speak very good. Sorry, I don't understand. Bravo. Stai imparando? Imparare. Ho su voce.
Okay, so absolute closeness centrality. So we are going to measure how close each actor is to all the other actors. Now, it's a bit, how to say, it's not so straight, the reasoning, but it is better to start from, not from closeness, but from distance, which is, of course, the opposite. Farness. Okay, so who goes first? Node A, how distant is from all the other nodes? Farness. Huh? 1 to B. 2 to C. And 4 to E. Good. So total distance, total farness of node A is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. 10. Same for all the others. So I don't repeat, of course. Huh? Which other node has the same distance? Node E, of course, no? The opposite extreme, because this again is symmetric respect to the central node, respect to C. Okay, good. Now, this is farness. And what about closeness? How can we go from farness to closeness? Bernard. How can we go from farness if we want to calculate the closeness of A, not the farness? Farness is 10, but closeness is
1
1.
from A to A.
Yeah, but I mean, in formal terms, so to go straight to the point, not to recalculating everything. If 10 is the distance, the farness, how much will be the closeness?
Divided by 10.
Sorry,
Divided by 10.
you don't understand.
Divided by 10.
You have to 1 over 10 is the inverse, no? Is the inverse. So 1 over 10, 1 over 7, 1 over 6. Okay, got it? This is the opposite. So it's the inverse of farness. Now, from node A, far from the others, right? Clear, no? 1, 1, 1, 1. That's the farness, the distance. Node B, Beatrice. Node B. Oh, I see this is whispering. B to A is 1. B to C, 2. 2. So 1 plus 2. Good. Okay. Camilla, Georgia. Node A. A. Node A. Farness of node A on this graph.
Yeah, 16.
I mean, at first sight, what will be the node with the most distance and what will be the node less distant? Just intuitively, without calculation. Looking at the topology. Liman.
Node A.
No, looking at this graph, just without doing any calculation, at first sight, what will be the most distant and what will be the closest? Without going to numbering one by one.
The most distance will be 10.
But which node?
It will be node E.
Node E,
Maybe G,
the most distant.
maybe
Oh,
G.
it will be F, G, D, and E. 4 of them.
Who else? Who offers more? Why? What's your reasoning for that?
Because they are the nodes that are far from other nodes. They are farther from other nodes. So when you calculate the distance between them and the other nodes, the sum will be more than the central node of E. That's what I think.
Okay, let's see. A is 10. B is 11. C 11. D 15. And so the other peripheral. So the peripheral nodes are the most distant. Farness is highest. Okay. And so since we are interested in closeness, is the reverse in terms of centrality, closeness, centrality. So we have to reverse it. Okay, now the other indirect measure of centrality is betweenness centrality. What is measured in this case? The number of geodesics crossing the single node. So how many geodesics will go through that node? The many they are, the more important is the node. I mean, this is very, very clear if you think of the concept, even the reality of a broker, a real broker. When a broker is really powerful, when its clients cannot make a direct link between themselves and they have to go through the broker. And what does it mean in network analysis terms? It means that that broker is very central between the geodesics, between all the others. So whatever node wish to reach another node likely has to go across that node.
And there is a bridge.
It is, of course, also a bridge. Be careful, not necessarily, because that can be, because we are reasoning only in terms of geodesic. There can be many other paths, non-geodesic, that keep the rest of the network connected. So you delete that node with high betweenness centrality, and not any node will be disconnected. The network keep connected because non-geodesic paths. So it's more complicated. Okay? So let's do the exercise. Camilla, between the centrality of node B. One. Which one? Which geodesic? Did you hear?
One
to A and one to C. Two geodesic.
Two geodesics. Can you say which one?
One to A and one to C.
No, say the letters. One geodesic is letters.
BA and BC.
B, A, and B, C. That's not geodesics. They're neighbors. A and C are neighbors, are B's neighbors. We are talking of geodesics, not neighbors. Geodesics.
Agree.
Huh?
Agree.
Which one?
AC, AZ, AD.
A,
C,
AC,
AD,
AD.
AD.
Three geodesics. Explain.
Because it is
Explain, Camilla, and the others.
that's the geodesic between A and C. There's a node that's B. So that's the between the centrality of B. Between the geodesic from A to D, that's the geodesic because it's more like one.
Prima, go ahead.
Because if you consider the path of the geodesic between A and E, there's no, the geodesic is AB because it is smallest part. MB is in between, so you count this one. Between A, B is in between, so you count another degree of centrality. And between A and C, you have another one, another time B.
Got it now. So the concept of betweenness of geodesic is crossing the node, not starting from or arriving to.
Yes.
So if you look at Stazione Termini in Roma, it's not the between centrality, no any, because it is the starting station.
Yes.
No any train is crossing the station. It's arriving there and then departing again. Must be crossing the node. Matteo. Is Yes. Okay. So Matteo does node C, geodesic between the centrality of node C. Actor C. How many? Which one? Okay, easier. The between the centrality of node E. Between the centrality of node E. How much?
Zero.
Zero. Zero. Nothing is crossing this actor. Some path is starting from this point or arriving to this point, not crossing. So 0, 0. And so the maximum between the centrality is node, of course. Okay, more complicated. Star graph. Between the centrality of node B.
Zero.
Zero. And all the peripheral nodes, zero. Nothing is crossing the peripheral. Now, it's more complicated. Not intuitive. It means centrality of node A.
Two.
Like I said, it's not complicated, not so intuitive. Between the centrality of node A. No. Camilla, come here. Come here.
No, please.
Guys. You will survive, don't worry. Go there. And the pick with your hand. Which geodesics are crossing node A?
One, no, one and two for me, but
One and two.
yeah.
Finish.
but-
Bye-bye.
Uh,
Finish. Help Camilla.
12 maybe.
Near. Yeah, the concept is that one. But then slash over. Okay, let's count. One geodesic is BE, okay? That's easy, okay? Another geodesic is CB. That's very pretty simple. Then another geodesic is BAC. Another one BAD. Another one AEAD. Another one EAC. Those are all geodesics. So nothing too big. Nothing too big. That's why I prefer to do this exercise because you really understand the concept. Because if just pushing the bottom in UCINet, okay, there is a number, but the question is doing the exercise, you understand really, because otherwise when you are in front of the ego network, you will not understand the result. You cannot make interpretations because actually you don't understand the number. Okay. So why 6? And I said that he was closer to the solution because he said 12, but in both directions. But this is undirected. So 12 over 2. So 6. Okay. Now, between the centrality of node B, Bernard. Die, come on. That's easy. Okay, let's do it fast. Peripheral. All periphery is 0, okay? And the others is computing, in this case, between the centrality of node A. At first sight, must be the node with the highest between the centrality because it is in the middle of the network. So all the geodesics are crossing that node. Okay, so intuitively. Then you will make, I will give you the slides, you can make exercise. Okay, now, so between the centrality. Now what's the more complicated? It's a bit more complicated. And why is it more complicated in real networks? Then these prototypes were very simple. The complication comes from the fact that there can be more than one geodesic linking each phase of nodes. GJK means the geodesics between the generic node J and the generic node K. Okay. Do you remember when we made the geodesic matrix? there can be more than one geodesic. Okay. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that some geodesic connecting node J and K can be not crossing the given node on which we are calculating centrality. So some geodesics can go out of that node. Now, the visualization will be very clear. Don't worry. Let's look at this network. Nodes A and B are connected by 3 geodesics, node A and B. Which ones? 3 geodesics. Hello?
F, C, D, A, C.
A, C, D, B.
A, C, E, F, D.
B, A, C, O.
A, C, E, D. A, F, D, B. Okay? Right? 3 geodesics connecting A and B. Right? Now, suppose we are calculating between the centrality of node C. What happens? It happens that out of the 3 geodesics connecting A and B, only 2 cross node B, node C. Only 2. So, what's the between the centrality? 2/3. Because only 2 out of 3. And that's why there is a big difference between degree centrality and between the centrality. Degree centrality is always a natural number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, blah, blah. Positive, of course. Between the centrality usually is a fractionary number. Why? Because of this effect, that only a fraction of geodesics is crossing the given node. That's why when you will push the button, calculate degree centrality, boom, you find that even in the absolute degree between the centrality, the values usually are fractionary values, not integers. Clear? Okay. So, in formulas, so far we did calculations, trivial like elementary school. How many chicken, how many eggs the mom is bringing to the market? 5 eggs, 2 falls down. How many? Now let's do formulas. So this is degree centrality. Degree centrality of node Ni is the summation of all the links between Ax and Ij. Okay, node I, Xi, and J, all the other neighbors. Closeness centrality. It indicates a node's degree of closeness to all other nodes, considering only geodesics. And this is the formula. That is, D is distance, is representing distance. So is the sum of all distances between node I and node J, power -1, because it's 1 over the distance, because we are interested to closeness. If we didn't, power to -1 would be farness centrality, so distance centrality. But we are interested in closeness, so power -1, so this is the inverse. Okay. Final, between the centrality. it indicates how much a node intermediates in words, no, in the concept, grasping the concept, intermediates all geodesics of the network. Huh? And how many geodesics are in a network? $1 million question. How many geodesics are?
One.
Oh. Generito. Given a network of n nodes, sides n nodes, how many geodesics are?
Times n minus one.
N per n minus 1. It's exactly the number of couples. It's the same. No, that's why it was not so difficult to answer. Okay. Now, the formula. Matteo, read the formula. How to read this formula? Between the centrality of node Ni, the given node Ni is the sum of all geodesics Jk, that is between all the other nodes excepted itself, except node I. That's why I use different letters, different symbols. Node I, all the Jk, all the other nodes, geodesics between all the other nodes, crossing node Ni. The two of the example in the other slide, no, the number 2 of the other example, over all possible geodesics, Jk. That were 3 in the example. So 2/3. Clear? Come si faceva a scuola? Ripeti. Quanto siete fusi? Quanto vado avanti? Abbastanza?
Professor, what is the in this case?
In the example were 3 geodesics, no? Between A and B. No? But out of the 3, only 2 were crossing node C. So between the centrality BC of node C and IBC would be the geodesics of all the others crossing node Ni, node C, over all possible geodesics.
That's 6. Or the
Depending British or American, Soviets. Okay. How can we compare node centrality across different graphs? That was the question that the name Dario answered before. That is normalizing the absolute value. So now we have to find the normalizer. Which are the normalizer? And that's not so easy. I mean, for degree centrality is easy, but for closeness and betweenness, not so much. Okay, usually, not always, but usually the normalizer is the maximum possible value of a given variable. Right? So for degree centrality, what is the maximum possible degree centrality? What is the normalizer of degree centrality? That is, what is the maximum possible degree centrality of a network of n nodes? Size n.
The diameter.
Sorry?
Diameter.
Diameter, you mean? No, why the diameter? We are talking of not you mean on geodesics, I mean on between the degree centrality.
Maximum.
No, degree centrality does not deal with geodesics because it's only neighbors.
Maximum.
Number of neighbors. So how much is n minus 1? N minus 1, no? At max, a given actor can be connected to all the other actors, but itself. So n minus 1. If step reference accurate, it would be n. So all the others plus itself. Okay, so the normalizer is very easy to apply. Don't. Okay. And you now immediately grasp a very important point, a very important property of star graphs. That is, the central node in star graph has the maximum degree centrality, 100%, because it is connected with all the others. Peripheral nodes are connected only with one. N minus 1 is 4, so 0.25. Okay? Good. You can do the exercise for this yourself at home. Now, this is a bit more complicated. I mean, furnace, it is distance is the sum of the distance between I j, no? All the node I with all the other nodes. We have seen already. And we have seen what? That we are interested into closeness, not distance. So 1 over distance. Okay, or distance power minus 1. Okay, so this one is closeness. Now, what is the normalizer? What is the normalizer? Reformulate in your mind. What can be the maximum closeness of a node? One in terms of what? No, let's say in absolute values. The maximum closeness of a node in a network of nodes. Okay. Think of the star graph again.
1 divided 1.
Now, don't make things too complicated. I mean, star graph. Which node in the star graph is maximally close to all the others? Huh? Node A, the center, right? And what is its absolute closeness? It's absolute. No, it's n minus 1. Not 1, n minus 1. The star had 5 nodes. The center is 1 node. So n minus 1, 4. No? Because it's close at shortest distance with all the others. So 4. One link with B, one link with C, one link with D, and one link with A, with E. So n minus 1, 4. So the normalizer is n minus 1. But it is where? At the numerator or denominator?
Is that?
It's at the numerator because it is 1 over, okay, you can see yourself. Last. Okay, you can do it yourself, an exercise. Look, this is the normalizer. Since the expression would be 1 over this expression over n minus 1, n minus 1 goes to the numerator and becomes n minus 1 divided what? What is this expression, Lyman? N minus 1 over, what is the meaning of this expression? Over distance, farness, distance. N minus 1 over farness is normalized closeness centrality. Like magician, put numerator, then okay, you will see with exercise, it will be very exactly. 1 over distance is closeness, because since we have to normalize closeness by n minus 1, it will be 1 over distance over n minus 1. So n minus 1 over distance. Okay, Jay? Good. Okay, so you will calculate yourself, and let's do between the centrality. You have the solution, so you can follow. And so what is the normalizer now of between the centrality? It is much more complicated. This is much more complicated. This is the absolute between the centrality. We already calculated it. What is the appropriate normalizer? Okay, I will tell you, you will see at home, because now it's finished. Let's do how many geodesics can be in an undirected graph? We said it before. N per n minus 1 over 2, no, because it's undirected. If it were directed, n per n minus 1. Good. So very easy at the very end, not so difficult. The difficult point is, it's not n per n minus 1. It's n per n minus 1 per n minus 2. Why? It's a very, maybe you can just, with intuition, you can understand it.
Because we have to notice that.
What is the difference between n per n minus 1 and n minus 1 per n minus 2? What is the difference?
And then n minus 1, consider the nodes. And
Lower the expression. N per n minus 1, lower of 1 unit. What will be? N minus 1 per n minus 2. The red one expression, the red expression. And why? Because you have to eliminate the node on which you're calculating between the centrality, because it is crossing the node, not starting from it. So you have to reduce the normalizers by 1 unit.
Expression, you will count like for.
You would count also the node that is the node in reference for the between the centrality, but you have to not include it between the nodes across them, across which there is geodesics. That's the point. In fact, geodesics, you remember, is JK, not I. So from here to here, in this transformation, you have just eliminated node I, because the geodesics are between node J and node K. So all the others. And so the final expression, you will calculate the application. And here you find all the expressions. Of course, over 2 goes here in the numerator, so it will be And voila. Node level analysis. Centrality indexes. Not complete, because tomorrow morning, that you are stronger in the morning, better brain, we will do the question of in, out, and the normalization of in, out, so something more complicated about the direction. Okay, good evening. Have a nice evening.